And a Fox News alert on the fallout from the new progress against ISIS in Iraq. Iraqi forces just retaking a key government complex in Ramadi, a city under Islamic State control for some 7 months now. Iraqi troops seen raising the national flag over the building. Ramadi is hugely important symbolically because it's the capital of Anbar province and the birthplace of the Sunni awakening movement. But it could also be key to regaining control of Mosul. Joining us now, retired Major General Bob Scales, a Fox News military analyst. Nice to see you, General Scales.
Hi, Leah.
Okay, so we know that the U.S.-led coalition forces have trained around 15,000 Iraqi forces over the past year. We know this most recent effort has been supported by more than 30 airstrikes just over the past week. So is the U.S. support, is the U.S.-led coalition support in Iraq starting to work when it comes to defeating ISIS?
That's a great question, Leah. My sources tell me a couple of things. First of all, they've re-equipped these forces with weapons that are effective, mainly the AT-4 anti-tank missile, which has been used to stop these horrible ISIS truck bombs. Secondly, they've greatly improved the quality of their close air support because now with embedded forward air controllers, they're able to drop bombs closer and closer to advancing forces. Third is this is the A team for the Iraqis. This is their 8th Golden Division and their counterterrorism forces. In your clip a little earlier, you saw the forces with the black uniforms. Well, that's the CTS. So it's the total force that's investing in the city was about 8,000 to 9,000. But this, again, this is the Super Bowl team. The real question, Leah, is what are they going to do next? Hold Ramadi and then march on Mosul to strike at the center of gravity of ISIS in Iraq is going to take a much, much larger effort, Leah.
And, you know, you mentioned Mosul is essentially the center of gravity for ISIS in Iraq. Iraq's prime minister says Mosul is going to be next in their sights. But there's a huge difference between Mosul and Ramadi. You know, Mosul 250 miles north of Baghdad. But Mosul is around 2.5 million people during normal times compared to Ramadi around 700,000 to 900,000.
Right. See, here's the thing. You're not going to invest Mosul with a division and counterterrorism forces. The other thing is, remember, over 200 miles, that's about the same distance from Kuwait to Baghdad in 2003. And you recall from your own experience how difficult it was to get 2 American divisions to travel that far. Now we're asking the Iraqi army to travel that same distance to invest Mosul. So in terms of magnitude, Leah, I would say you'll need 5, 6, maybe 7 times the number of soldiers to be successful against Mosul. And the Iraqi army, quite frankly, is a long way away from generating 40, 50, 60,000 soldiers, Leah.
And at the same time, most of the gains that have been made in Iraq have been from Kurdish forces, Shiite militias. So this is somewhat of a strategic victory and really just a point of confidence for Iraqi forces, right?
Yeah, well, that's the real thing is the psychology of warfare. The Iraqi army has been losing for a year and a half, and now all of a sudden they have a sort of psychological bellwether, maybe even a tipping point in the war that not only gives the Iraqi people a sense of hope that they can restore their country and defeat ISIS, but most importantly among the soldiers and the leaders within the Iraqi army. Maybe this is that catalyst, maybe it's that spark, Leah, that transforms the Iraqi army and leads them on to success. But I got to tell you, it's a very, very difficult military task. It's a long way from Ramadi to Mosul, and probably won't even begin until they've cleared Ramadi in the suburbs and opened the road to Mosul and started the advance. That's going to take many, many months, Leah.
And of course, General Scales, the other country where we've had a huge investment over the past more than a decade in Afghanistan. And now there's new violence in Afghanistan with a deadly car bombing in Kabul as the Taliban steps up attacks across the country, sparking new concerns about a Taliban resurgence and raising fears that Afghanistan may soon fall. We're also hearing from the New York Times American military officials saying that the White House is actually considering a Pentagon proposal to maintain a base in Afghanistan for years to come. What does this tell us about Afghanistan and its future?
Yeah, great question, Leah. The problem, as General John Campbell, the commander in Afghanistan, said, is the United States is only able to put its finger in the dike. We're going down to 5,500 troops at the very time that not only is the Taliban resurgent in Afghanistan, but now ISIS is in 30 different provinces in Afghanistan. And the Afghan army in many ways is in sort of a state of disarray. So Conditions are not good on the ground in Afghanistan. The American forces aren't strong enough to help them to counteroffensive. And so in provinces like Helmand province, the Taliban is on the rise. And the final thing that's so interesting, Leah, is that they're not taking a time out for the winter season. Remember, over the last 14 years, the Taliban has only fought between, say, April and October. Now, all of a sudden, they're conducting attacks in December and January. This is a very, very dangerous precedent for the future ahead, Leah.
And you're right, General Scales, very new that they are not taking that winter break. When I was there in Afghanistan in 2008,
right.
We were preparing for the spring offensive. So definitely some good points. Nice to see you, General Scales.
Nice to see you,
Good information
Leah.
as always.